I am saying that soon, very soon, within 24 months of this recording, Raila Amolo Odinga can occupy both African Union and United Nations simultaneously at the same time. I know it is unbelievable. To his supporters, the first reaction would be, even without interrogating my reasoning, they'll just say, this gentleman who has been anti-Raila, this gentleman who has been anti our tribe, has now seen the light. Now he is pro-Raila, and now he is pro our tribe. I don't know why that when you criticize Raila or when you disagree with Raila, it is seen that you hate the tribe. And when you praise Raila, that like what I'm going to do, even without interrogating the facts, you just say, this gentleman now loves Raila, and this gentleman now loves the tribe. But to me, mine is to give facts and projections and let the history prove me right or wrong. Currently, I have recorded a few thousands of videos. And if I recall, of the few thousand videos, less than 10 I have been proven either partly wrong or wholly wrong. I'll give two examples. I'll give an example where I was wholly wrong, completely. And I will also give an example where I was partly wrong. I had recorded saying that the next chief of the defense forces would be General Badi. When the truth came, the next chief of defense forces was General Ogola. I was completely wrong. I want to give you an example of where I was partly wrong. 48 hours before Ruto's swearing in, I had talked about his presidential standards. If you want to put it in a simpler name, presidential flag. I said everything about it. And in the comment section, somebody asked me if the flag would include a wheelbarrow. I said no, it will not include a wheelbarrow. But then, when the flag came, if you look at the video, you'll see that the only wrong place I was that I did not include video. I mean, I did not include wheelbarrow. And even after a viewer had commented that there will be a wheelbarrow, I insisted it will not be there. So I've given that example. Now let us go to how and why Agwambo could make record, the first person ever to simultaneously sit on the African Union and the United Nations. I'm the first one to predict that he is most likely going to be the first person to at the same time sit on the African Union and sit on the UN. You cannot go to secondary school before you go to primary school. So we will start with the primary school. Primary school is that the African Union. Primary school is the African Union. After he has gone through the African Union, then he will automatically go to United Nations. And this is how I am prophesying. Currently, Raila has the support of most of the presidents in Africa. Well, let us be frank. Ruto is 100% supporting Raila. Museveni is 100% supporting Raila. But both of them are not supporting him in good faith. But what is that? A vote is a vote, isn't it? When you are electing your MCA, MP, senator, governor, or even president, some people elect those people because they were in the same school, they have the same clan, tribe, or anything. But when they come to count votes, it does not matter whether you voted because of this or that. Now let us see why Ruto is supporting him. Ruto is going to support him because after Raila has been sworn in as the African Union chairman, we are no longer going to have demonstrations. Supreme Court will no longer be there to sit down and judge the cases. Because if you look at Raila's history, any election that has been fair is the election where his party has won. For example, 2002. So every election that Raila says it has been rigged, it is his way of saying the side that I supported did not win this election. So chances of the future having demonstration disrupting the country because someone is disputing the elections will no longer be there. Chances of going to the Supreme Court to have cases calling for the nullification of, that is something of the past. So when Ruto supports Raila, yes, we may say patriotism, but a lot of it has got to do with getting rid of one single person who will disrupt the election every time. And maybe, maybe the next president or whatever will not have to have a handshake. Somebody called it handshake. There is nothing that will be done on that level. Museveni, if you look at Museveni, you see Museveni is the undisputed king of the region. If you look at Madam, the Tanzanian president, she's no threat to him. Look at Kagame, look at Nkurunziza, look at Ruto, look at the Southern Sudan president. So chances of seeing any leader threatening Museveni as the regional leader is diminishing and diminishing and diminishing. You see, if Raila becomes the president of Kenya, he may try. First of all, there is the age limit, their age mates, and also Madam Samia. Have you ever seen her extend her influence out of Tanzania? The same with other presidents and whatever. Maybe Ruto, because Ruto amepeleka watu Haiti, Kenyan government has taken people to Somalia, such things, and also peace movements around the world. So if placing in Kenya somebody who would challenge Museveni age-wise and whatever. So when Museveni votes or even campaigns for Raila, you have seen, and then even when Ruto campaigns for Raila, you have seen what is happening. So that is what happens. And then we go to other regions. People are saying that the Djibouti candidate is Raila's biggest threat. I can tell you that 95% of people who want Raila to lose are Kenyans. And they are the ones who are cooking up these theories so as to kuingiza Raila uoga so that Raila withdraws. But you see, these people are doing it for their own selfish interest. It's not even in the interest of Raila. I know of a number of people, especially those from Luo region, who have been elected because they're always next to Raila. Who, if Raila now leaves politics, they will have a hard time. In fact, they'll be voted out as soon as the ballot papers are in the polling stations. These are the people, not just in Luo Nyanza, but countrywide. There are those people who are clinging into Raila and even coming up with this theory of the Somali, of the Djibouti candidate. Now, let us look at the Djibouti candidate. Let us look at the Djibouti candidate. Djibouti are Somalis. We have so many Somali, can I call them, okay, the official name is section. Somalis don't consider themselves like Luyas at a sub-tribe or whatever. No, they have two sections. One is called Darot and the other one is, I've forgotten the name. Then from Darot, there is the subsection, which for the purpose of this recording, we will say, call them tribes. Now we have Degodia, Ajuran, we have Ogaden, Gare, and so on. Now the two tribes, we call them tribes, the two tribes of Somalis that are found in Djibouti are called Afar and Isak. We have Isaks even in Kenya. We have a lot of Isaks around Moyale. And Isaks are very good in, unaona hizi Bayusuf and whatever. Although Bayusuf is an Arab, but if you find most of the Somalis who have lorries like the kina Bayusuf lorry, most of them are Isak. Now you find that the Isaks are found to the north and afar. So this country has three names. This country has three names. Just like Kinshasa, they have two names, the Zaire and the DRC. So this country has three names. One of the names is Afar and Isak. There is a time they decided that they'll just be known among the two tribes. The capital of the country called Afar and Isak. It's just like if Western Kenya were to form a republic, and then we call it Luo Luhya. Yeah, Luo Luhya. So that is Afar and Isak, two tribes that formed a country. And the capital city of that country called Afar and Isak, oh, a better example. You know, we have a county called Elgeyo Marakwet. Elgeyo Marakwet. It is majorly, it is the Keyos and Marakwet who stay there. So it is called Elgeyo Marakwet. So that country is called Afar and Isak. Afar and Isak. And the capital city of Afar and Isak is Djibouti, the port city of Djibouti. So being the port city of Djibouti, they like calling themselves the country Djibouti. Why? It is just like Qatar. Qatar, over 90% of the citizens of Qatar stay in Doha. Over 90% are in Doha. So the mayor of Doha is more like the president, because the president has just 10% on top of him. So Djibouti contains over 90% of the population of Afar and Isak. And during the colonial time, Somaliland was divided into 5 different regions. There is a region that went to the British East Africa that we nowadays call it northeastern Kenya. Then there is a part of Ethiopia that Italians took people. There is a part of northeastern that Italians took to Ethiopia that is called Ogaden region. Ogaden region is named after the largest tribe, just like in Kenya, we have the largest tribe is Kikuyu. Now, the largest tribe among the Somalis worldwide is called Ogaden. Ogaden, if you take the whole of northeastern of Kenya, you 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 draw a line from east to west. Half of it, the northern part of the equator, the Somali equator, is at a place called Habaswein. Now, north of Habaswein, which is half of that, is north of Habaswein is other Somalis, but south of Habaswein, all the way to Garissa County, is Ogaden. So you find that the Italians took Ogaden tribe to Ethiopia. So the second region of the Somalis is in Ethiopia called Ogaden. The third is Mogadishu towards the south that was called Italian Somaliland. Italian Somaliland. And then the final one, because I said northeastern is one, Ogaden is two. Number three is Italian, which is Mogadishu south to Lamu areas of Kenya. That is Italian. That is Italian Somaliland. Now, if you go to the other one, Hargeisa area, that is the British Somaliland, the one that today is called Hargeisa. And the fifth and the last one is Djibouti. The other name for Djibouti is French Somaliland. Now, if you take the Somali, the Djibouti, yeah, he's a Somali. If you take this Djibouti candidate and you say he's ahead of Raila. First of all, he does not have the stature of Raila. But then let us go to the points that those people who usually win elections because of Raila now are trying to sell uoga. This country is called French Somaliland, whereby these are Somalis who speak French. Now, if he contests, I'm not sure whether the Mogadishu government has said it will support Raila or not, but the where I'm seated, I would expect Mogadishu government to support Raila and not Djibouti. Not because of any differences or whatever, but I think they believe they would vote free and fair election. They would vote, and these are the elections you find. You have your cousin here, but you find the non-relative there is a better leader than your cousin, so you just vote for the other person, not because you have any problem with your cousin, but it is because the other candidate is better than your cousin. So all things equal, I'd expect Mogadishu to vote for Raila. Okay, let us go to this thing that they are saying that Organization of Islamic Countries, OIC, stated that they will support the Djibouti candidate. Let us start there because we have so many points people are talking about. Let us say that, and somebody saying, you see, Organization of Islamic Countries, OIC, are 30 countries. So they have endorsed him. Look at it. Yemen. Is Yemen part of Africa? Is Saudi Arabia part of Africa? No. Organization of Islamic Countries, OIC, has most of the countries non-African. So when you say that there are 30, and then out of 54, it is remaining 24, you are okay. From where I'm seated, I've reasoned that those who are saying so from the point of lack of knowledge. They don't know, and they're passing the information to you, yet they don't know. Organization of Africa of Islamic countries, we can say that 10 are from Africa. Okay, the next thing, is Arab countries within Africa. You see, I'm still talking about those 10, but let us reason it from Arab countries that are in Africa. These Arab countries are Sudan. Sudan, you know Sudan, they are called black Arabs, the same race that Anwar Sadat of Egypt was. It is even said that Anwar Sadat was killed because the Egyptian did not like a black uh, Arab. We even have black Jews. They came from Ethiopia. So Sudan is an Arab country. You go to Egypt, is an Arab country. You go to Libya, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, hiyo line yote, those are Arab countries. Will they vote for, you know, Somalis? If you talk to a Somali pole, Somalis believe that they are not Africans. They believe that they are Asians. They believe that they are Arabs. So what would Arabs do from Northern Africa? First of all, Arabs from Northern Africa, they would support Raila. Okay, we have a backup. If Raila doesn't go through, you know, they'll go for the second round, and maybe Kikwete or Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta may come in. But let us look at this. Between me and you, whom would those Arab countries vote for? They prefer Raila because a younger person like Uhuru or Kikwete means that they are going for 2 terms. Raila is going for 1 term. So if the Northern Africa, and you know Northern Africa are supposed to supply a vice chairman. Now, if a younger person like Uhuru or Kikwete goes, they are going there for 2 terms. When they go there for 2 terms, it will mean that if they go there for 2 terms, it would mean that the Arab from the north, who is the vice chairman, will delay in taking over. So what Arabs would want to do is place there an old man who will only serve 1 term and go. Then the person that they have placed there as a vice chairman would go there for 2 terms. But if we have to have a younger person as the as the chairman, whoever will be the deputy waiting for 2 terms, and then he himself going there for 2 terms would be tasking. So they would prefer that we have somebody like Raila, old, who will only serve for 1 term. Another thing that will make Arabs vote for Raila, other than a Kushaik, a Somali, who is their relative, is this. There is no way the chairman of African Union Council would be a Somali. Okay, let me correct myself. There is no way that the chairman of African Union Council would be a Muslim from Djibouti, and the vice chairman would be a Muslim from Egypt. It can't happen. So Egypt, Algeria, Libya, and so on, and Sudan, if they support a Somali as the chair, then it would mean that a Northern Africa country that has some Christians would now have to produce the vice chairman. You see, this is a story of scratch my back, I scratch your back. Then lastly, people are saying that French-speaking countries will not support Raila, but will support Djibouti because he comes from French Somaliland. Most of the French-speaking countries, I think all of them, come from West Africa. They are still Muslims, isn't it? And I can tell you that a Negro Muslim would rather side with a Somali Muslim or even an Arab Muslim. Even from the villages we come from, Mumias, you'll find a Muanga would side with a Somali or anything against a fellow Mwanga who's a Christian. That brainwashing is there in Islamic. But let us look at the French-speaking countries in West Africa, most of which are Muslim. You'll find that there is a corridor there in the Sahara where there were several military coups. So because of these military coups, expect that many of those countries have been suspended from African Union. So the African countries that are French speaking, a number of them have been suspended. The Kinamali area, isn't it? Now you go to Arab countries, which are Muslims, they'll also not vote for Djibouti because they would prefer a Muslim and a Muslim Arab from the north to be the vice chair, so that after Raila completes his 4 years, that one takes over for. And how sweet is it for you to be a deputy chair for 1 term and be the chair for 2 terms, just like Ruto has been a deputy president for 2 terms, and most likely he'll be the president for other 2 terms. Now you can see what I'm reasoning. So what I can say here, finishing off before we go to the we go to the UN, because I said you can't go to secondary school before passing through primary school. I can say here that there are only few reasons that I think 2. There are only 2 reasons that can stop, or 3. There are only 3 reasons that can stop Raila from becoming the AUC chairman. The first and the major one is that the act of God. Because even I who is speaking to you now, even I who is speaking to you now, only God knows if tomorrow I will see the light of the day. And you and whatever. So if it is only God who knows if Raila would reach that day. And that is why people like those in the south, Kina Madagascar and whatever, they have placed themselves strategically so that should anything happen between now and the election day, then they become candidates. Wakudoea. That is the Swahili word. That is one thing, act of God. The second thing, if Raila becomes sick to an extent that medically he cannot function in the work. And lastly, if Raila reaches somewhere and he's not interested in the AUC position. Have you seen that those 3 positions, there is none that Raila is going to be outvoted. So watu wa maandamano, I hear some people, kina mheshimiwa Peter Salasi was saying that tungoje Raila anguke tuende Addis Ababa maandamano. Hakuna kitu kama hiyo. Now Raila, it reaches February, Raila is sworn in as AUC chairman. How comes that now Raila will be both AUC chairman and also sitting on UN Security Committee? It's very easy. As we speak now, there is a struggle to have African continent have 2 seats on the permanent security committee. The permanent security committee has 5 permanent members. They want Africa to have 2 permanent seats there. Now, there is advantages in being a permanent as compared to temporary. As we speak today, Somalia represents Africa in the temporary seat of the UN. Somalia represents Africa. But it happens that in the next cycle again of another country will be told to produce somebody. So they go rotating that way. Now, what happens to the permanent members, of which I'm predicting that Raila would be a member of the permanent security committee. If you are a member of the permanent security committee, it means these things, 2 things, among others. 1, you are there forever. Since the UN started, there has only been one change. When the UN started, there was the USSR No, there are two changes here. There was the USSR, there was the USA, there was Britain, there was China, there was USSR, there was Britain, there was America, and there was a country called the fifth country. But not China, Taiwan. There was Taiwan, there was USSR, there was UK, there was USA. I've forgotten the fifth one. So those 5 permanent members, there has only been 2 changes. Change number 1, it reached a place where Taiwan was expelled from the UN and replaced by People's Republic of China. The second one is that at the breakdown of the USSR, Union of the Soviet Socialist Republics, it broke into several countries, Ukraine, Russia, and so on. Each Soviet state formed its own country. But it is only Moscow that was given the position that used to belong to Russia. Russia is the one which was given the position that was to be, which used to belong to USSR. So there's no change, will be there forever. That is one. Not this issue that Somalia has just been given the other day, and after a few days it will get out, another African country will come there. That is one thing, that if you are a permanent, you're always there. And another thing is you have a veto, power of veto. Now, I'll give you 2 examples of veto. One, you know the issue of Israel and Hamas. So when the UN wants to discuss about Hamas and Israel, America suspects that it will touch on Israel, then America casts its veto on that one. USSR and Russia have also done that in the past, casting the vote of veto. It means that should my arithmetics work, Raila will have powers to veto issues to do with the UN issues. Here nikienda Kisumu, I'll be welcomed more than vile Ruto aliwelkamiwa Kondele. Now, how does Raila end up there? Supposing that it is agreed that Africa is given those 2 permanent positions. First of all, permanent is in such a way that you don't change. We cannot say that Africa has 2 permanent positions, and then that permanent position is occupied by country A, then the next time a country Angola, then the next time it is a Angola, then it is Benin, then again Cameroon, then again, it has to be the people who would be there for permanent. Some people have even suggested that the permanent position be given to the African Union, so that Africa continues with its 2 temporary positions, but Africa Union gets the permanent seat in the United Nations. Now, supposing African Union gets a permanent seat on the United Nations, how does it vote? It means that if there is an issue, then African Union countries, the 54 of us, can sit down and deliberate on something and then tell the African Union to go there and decide this on behalf. It will be another country without a country without a country, that is called African Union, that will be a member of the UN security, permanent UN security, whereby anything that is being discussed, African Union countries, the 54 of us, we sit down, decide on something, then the head of African Union, who is a Gwambo, would go to the UN and represent the African Union. Now you see how it comes. I don't see them getting 2, because they have been having 5. Now telling me that they are going to have 7, they'll agree to 6. And if they agree to 6, most likely they'll say that the 6th will do what? The 6th one will not go to any particular African country. Because those who are talking of 2, maybe they'll say Nigeria and South Africa, no. But when they say that 1, it will be given to African Union. Thank you.